Attitudes of a person who only uses you and doesn't care about you. You should only be with people who make you happy, who bring out the best in you. It's hard to tell who is fake and who is real, just like it's hard to tell the difference between a real oasis and a fake one in the middle of a huge desert where people talk to each other. In a world where people meet and part, where people wear masks of kindness and selfishness, finding out who really cares about us is a skill that needs not only feeling, but also seeing. Sometimes we trust too much in the good heart and goodwill of others when what's really going on is that we're just being taken advantage of. Just like a good gardener who knows how to tell the plants that feed from the ones that steal from the soil, we have to learn how to tell who in our lives are true friends. But we also have to watch out for those who are emotional leeches. That's why we will now talk about small signs and hidden clues that show the secret plans behind fake smiles and empty words. If you are here, it's because you want to grow as a person. And in this content, we will talk about the smart way of solving these human puzzles, showing the way to more real and satisfying relationships. Before we start, I want to ask you to make sure to watch this video until the end, as all the content is important. Be brave and stay on track. 15. Failure to fulfill promises. Promises are like a show where words are the actors and actions are the forgotten script. These people are good at talking, making beautiful images of loyalty and help, but their words are often empty of action. They make you hope with the skill of a painter, but when it's time to make these painted dreams come true, they fail, showing the nothingness of their words. In these relationships, a pattern shows up. When you need their help the most, when they have to keep their word, these people often disappear, leaving a hole filled with sadness and anger. This missing in times of need is not just a betrayal. It is a clear sign of their real goals. Their promises are tricks for control, made to get value, trust, or help with no plan of giving back. Breaking promises then becomes a way of testing. It shows the difference between those who see relationships as a two-way road of mutual respect and help, and those who see relationships only as ways to get what they want. For those left behind, the experience often brings a hurtful but useful lesson. Not all promises are based on honesty and honor. So, breaking promises is an important behavior to watch in knowing and telling who may want to use you. It is a behavior that says more than the most beautiful of words, showing a person's true nature and plan. And by seeing this pattern, you can learn how to move through the complicated land of human relationships with a more careful eye, protecting your trust and emotional investment. 14. Disdainful comments. People who always use others for their own good are good at using small words as a way to breaking down self-love, trust, and the feeling of self-value in their targets. These words, sometimes hidden as jokes or friendly talk, are in fact sharp hooks made to pull down instead of lift up. They may make your wins seem small, laugh at your dreams, or act bored and not care about your problems and challenges. This behavior is like quiet mind war. By always making your wins and dreams seem less, these people make the relationship not fair. It's a planned move to make sure that you stay in a place of self-question and less self-love, making you more easy to trick and control. In their eyes, your less self-value makes them look better, making their place of power in the relationship stronger. Also, such mean words are often a show of their own worries and feelings of not being good enough. By making others feel small, they try to hide their own weak points and act like they are better. This behavior is a clear sign of their not being able to have healthy, helpful, and equal relationships. Seeing and knowing this way of behavior is very important. It lets you see past the fake nice that such people often show, and to know the real bad things of the relationship. It acts as a warning to either talk to the person directly, making clear rules, or to get away from such a bad place. 13. Unilateral benefit. This can show up in different parts of a relationship, like money, feelings, or things. With money, the user may often take money or things with words of paying back or giving back that never happen. With feelings, they might need a lot from the other for help, approval, and care, but give little or nothing back. When the roles are changed with things, they could always ask for favors, help, or time, but be missing or too busy when the other person needs help. This one-sidedness is like a bad relationship in nature, where one living thing gets good things at the cost of the other. The user, like a bad living thing, takes good things, in this case, emotional, money, or things help, without giving the same or enough to the good of their host. Over time, this no giving back can take away the giver's good things, be they emotional, money, or time, leaving them empty and unhappy. The reasons behind one-way benefit are often from a deep self-focus and a no care for others. The user sees relationships through a trade eye, looking at talks based on what they can get instead of what they can give. This way of seeing relationships is very wrong, as it forgets the real value of mutual respect, help, and share. Telling this way needs a careful eye. It means seeing the always no giving back and the feeling of always being cheated in the relationship. It asks for a true check of whether the talks make you feel valued and respected or used, and not valued. 12. Disregard for your needs or feelings. Imagine you have a garden where you only water one plant and let the rest wither. This is what happens when someone always puts their own feelings and wants first and ignores or rejects yours. They use their words and actions to cut down your happiness and self-respect, making you feel worthless and invisible in the relationship. This lack of care can show up in different ways. It might be obvious in how they never pay attention to your feelings and don't help or comfort you when you are sad or in trouble. It could be clear in how they don't care about your thoughts and decisions and always talk over you or tell you what to do. They may not notice or appreciate your successes, or even worse, make fun of your problems, acting like they are not important. This behavior is not just rude. It's a deliberate way of keeping you down and making you feel bad about yourself. They create a situation where you lose your confidence and self-esteem and become more dependent on them and their approval. This is a way of controlling your emotions, done in a sneaky but powerful way. This kind of relationship is very harmful because it hurts your emotional health. Everyone needs to feel listened to, understood, and valued. When these needs are constantly ignored, you can start to feel lonely and hopeless, even when you are with someone. To avoid this, you need to know the signs of emotional neglect. This knowledge will help you get out of relationships where your emotional health is in danger. It will also help you look for relationships where there is balance, respect, and kindness between both people. 11. Emotional manipulation. Emotional manipulation usually starts with the manipulator acting like they care and pay attention to you. But this is just a fake mask that they use to make you feel nervous, worthless, or guilty. They are very good at playing with your emotions, saying nice things to make you happy when they want something from you, then saying mean things to make you feel bad and needy. Think of it like a gardener and a fragile plant. A good gardener takes care, giving the right amount of water and sun. But the emotional manipulator, like a bad gardener, sometimes gives too much water and sometimes none at all, letting the plant dry up. They use these ups and downs to make you unstable, creating a situation where you depend on them emotionally, always looking for their approval and love to feel good again. This manipulation often attacks the most important part of your emotional health. They may make your achievements seem small or your mistakes seem big to keep you in a constant state of doubt. They may change the facts to make you feel guilty for normal things, making you take the blame for everything and always say sorry. In relationships where emotional manipulation happens, the power is always unequal. The manipulator is in charge, deciding when to be nice and when to be cold, keeping you confused. This relationship is not about helping each other grow or being there for each other. It's about satisfying the manipulator's needs at the cost of the other's emotional health. To spot emotional manipulation, you need to be very aware of these things. It means noticing the ways of talking and acting where your emotions are always messed with. It also means thinking deeply about how these things affect your sense of self and emotional health. 10. Lack of genuine support. Think of a tree in a big forest that gets support from the other trees and plants around it, getting food, shelter, and the friendship of a living community. Now, think of a tree standing by itself in a dry land, with no other plants to give support or protection. This is like being in a relationship with someone who does not really care about your well-being. You are alone, without support, your branches looking for friendship that never comes. In such relationships, your goals, projects, and problems are met with no interest or fake signs of support. This person may agree with your plans, say good luck without meaning it, or even say they support you. But their actions or lack of actions show the truth. When it comes to real help, useful advice, or even a shoulder to cry on during hard times, they are nowhere to be found. Their help, if given, tends to be shallow, more for show than for real, and often disappears when you need it most. The reason behind this lack of real support is based on their focus on themselves. Your wins or losses, your problems or interests are only important if they affect them or their goals. They see relationships as a business deal, where emotional involvement is measured based on possible personal benefits. This attitude creates an imbalance where one person keeps giving, be it work, care, or resources, while the other keeps taking, often leaving the giver feeling unimportant and ignored. Knowing this lack of real support is very important in understanding the kind of relationship you have with such a person. It requires an honest look at the give and take in your interactions. Finding and fixing this lack of support is key to making sure that you spend your time and energy in relationships that are caring, balanced, and truly supportive. 9. Competition. They always try to be better than you. Imagine playing chess with someone who only cares about winning and destroying your pieces. That's how a person who uses you and doesn't care about you sees your relationship. They think of it as a game where they have to beat you at everything. Anything you do, say, or face becomes a chance for them to show off their superiority. They might make you feel small by bragging about their work, their achievements, or their choices. They might ignore or belittle your accomplishments, your feelings, or your problems. They might always act like they are smarter, more successful, or more important than you. The reason they do this is because they are insecure and have a low self-esteem. They don't value themselves for who they are, but for how they compare to others. They think that the only way to win is to make others lose. They don't care about growing together, but about getting ahead and leaving you behind. Dealing with someone who always tries to be better than you can be very tiring. It makes you feel stressed and unhappy because you can't work together or support each other. They don't cheer for you when you do well, but see you as a threat to their ego. They don't help you when you struggle, but use it as a chance to gain an advantage. Knowing and understanding this behavior is important. It helps you to protect yourself and change the relationship, if possible, to a more positive and cooperative one. It means realizing that a good relationship is based on mutual respect and support, not on a constant competition for superiority. Number 8. They are not there when you need them. 8. Absence in critical moments. They disappear when things get tough. This behavior is like a tree that gives you shade only when the sun is mild, but is gone when the storm comes. In happy times, when everything is going well, they are there, enjoying the good times and maybe getting something out of the relationship. But when things change, when problems come up, and you need their support, they are nowhere to be found. They leave you alone to face the difficulties. These people use relationships as a convenience, a way to get what they want. They only care about their own benefit, and they only help you when it suits them or when they can gain something. In tough times, whether it's a personal crisis, a work problem, or an emotional issue, their absence is obvious. It's in these times when you really need someone to support you and understand you that their true motives and lack of loyalty to the relationship are exposed. This behavior can hurt you a lot. It makes you feel betrayed and disappointed, losing the trust and dependability you thought the relationship had. It makes you wonder about the real meaning of the relationship and often leads you to rethink the person's role and value in your life. Knowing this behavior is important to understand the relationship and the other person's true intentions. It means accepting that real support, in good and bad times, is a key part of any meaningful relationship. The fact that someone is not there for you when you need them most is a critical test that helps you tell the difference between those who really care about you and those who are in the relationship only for themselves. 7. Lack of reciprocity. They don't give as much as you do. Think of a balance of give and take. One side is heavy with all the things you do, give up, and commit to, while the other side is light, with nothing or very little from them. This shows a relationship that is not fair. In these relationships, you are always putting in time, energy, and emotions, trying to make the relationship work, but the other person doesn't do the same. They don't put in much effort, or they only do it when they have to. This difference in effort can show up in different ways. It could be that you are always the one who starts talking and makes plans, while they don't seem interested or excited. It could be that you are always there for them and understand them, but they don't care or help you when you need it. Even when you share your personal stories and feelings, you might be open and honest, while they keep their secrets or don't pay attention. The reason they don't give as much as you do is because they only think about themselves in relationships. For them, the relationship is a convenience, something they can use when they want, without wanting to share anything real. They only do things that help them, and they don't care about your needs and feelings. This is the opposite of what healthy relationships are like, which are based on mutual sharing, doing things together, and caring for each other's emotions. Knowing when someone doesn't give as much as you do needs careful attention to how the relationship works. It means asking yourself if you both try to make the relationship better, or if you are the only one who does. It requires being honest with yourself about whether the relationship makes you happy or sad, equal or skewed. 6. Gossip and breach of trust. Trust. This can be likened to a double-edged sword. On one edge, the act of gossiping about others creates a false sense of camaraderie and trust. It can appear as if they are confiding in you, drawing you into a seemingly exclusive circle of trust. However, the other edge of the sword is far more sinister. It involves the betrayal of your trust, where the intimate or sensitive information you shared in confidence becomes fodder for their gossip with others. This betrayal is not just a violation of trust. It is a strategic move to erode your sense of security and privacy within the relationship. This conduct reveals a calculated disregard for the sanctity of personal information and a blatant disrespect for the boundaries of confidentiality. The user leverages gossip as a tool for social maneuvering, often positioning themselves as a nexus of information. By disseminating and twisting information, they seek to manipulate perceptions, create alliances, or even sow discord, all for their benefit. This behavior demonstrates a utilitarian approach to relationships, where people are seen as means to an end and confidential information as currency to be traded. The impact of such actions on the victim is multifaceted. It fosters an environment of mistrust and insecurity, undermining the very foundation of what could have been a supportive and trustworthy relationship. It can lead to social and emotional repercussions, as the misuse of personal information can damage reputations, relationships, and self-esteem. Identifying this pattern of behavior is crucial for safeguarding oneself against such relational predators. It involves being vigilant about how they speak of others in their absence and being cautious about the information shared with them. Observing their respect for confidentiality and their propensity to engage in gossip can provide valuable insights into their character and intentions. Recognizing and addressing this pattern is fundamental to maintaining one's dignity and ensuring that personal boundaries are respected in all relationships. 5. Select availability. You are available. They are not. They are never available. This kind of selective availability shows a relationship that is not fair, like a phone line where only one person is always ready to answer. You, in this situation, are always willing to listen, help, or support. Your schedule, your feelings, and your resources are like open books, easy for them to access. But the other person's availability is very rare, like a shooting star in the night sky, sometimes random, and only when they want. This difference in availability is not just because of busy lives or different goals. It is a planned choice, a smart move by the user. Their unavailability has two goals. It keeps a distance that is good for them, and it puts them in a place of power. By limiting their availability, they make a situation where you always want more and often feel thankful for whatever time or attention they give you. In these relationships, your tries to connect or talk are often met with reasons, delays, or no response. Your texts may not get a reply. Your calls may not get a call back. Your needs may not get noticed. When they do talk, it often matches their needs or plans, making the relationship a one-way road where your role is that of a benefit rather than a valued friend. The emotional cost of this pattern can be big. It makes feelings of not being good enough as you start to doubt the worth of your work and your value in the eyes of the other person. It makes a feeling of anger and bitterness because of the fact that your work and availability are not given back. Seeing the pattern of selective availability is very important. It involves taking a step back and looking at the balance of work and availability in a relationship. It asks for an understanding that healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, work, and being there. 4. Making you feel guilty. When someone makes you feel guilty to get what they want, it is like they are pulling strings that control you, making you do things that you don't really want to do. The person using you knows how to pull these strings well, using your feelings of duty, kindness, or fairness. They might ask you for things in a way that saying no would make you look bad or mean. Or they might bring up things they did for you or things that happened before, making you feel like you owe them something. This way of making you feel guilty is often hard to notice and sneaky. It starts with small things or agreements, slowly growing to bigger asks. Over time, your limits are worn away, and your ability to say no gets weaker, making you feel stuck in a circle of guilt and doing what they want. The other person's needs and wishes become the most important, while your own are ignored or forgotten. This way of making you feel guilty works because it uses a basic part of being human: the want to be seen as good, helpful, and caring. By making you feel guilty, the user changes these good things, making them into ways to control you. You find yourself doing things not because you really want to or respect each other, but because you feel like you have to, often feeling angry or tired. Seeing when someone is using guilt to get what they want from you is very important for keeping your personal limits and emotional health. It involves being aware of the feelings in your talks, telling the difference between real asks for help and tries to use your kindness. It also needs the bravery to ask why they are asking you for things, and to say you have the right to say no without feeling guilty. Seeing and dealing with this way of getting what they want is needed for having better relationships based on mutual respect, real care, and free choice, rather than duty and guilt. 3. Lack of personal interest. Care. Think of a conversation as a road where ideas, feelings, and memories travel both ways. In a good relationship, this road is full of sharing and listening. But when someone only wants to use you, this road becomes one way. They talk about themselves all the time, but they don't care about your life. They ignore or avoid your attempts to tell them your stories. This shows that they are not interested in you as a person. Conversations with them feel like you are listening to a speech instead of having a chat. They want you to pay attention and feel for them, but they don't do the same for you. When you try to talk about yourself, they lose interest. They might nod without meaning it, change the topic quickly, or act bored or annoyed. Your issues and experiences, no matter how important, seem to mean nothing to them. This is not just bad manners or poor communication. It is a sign of their selfishness and goals. By making the conversation all about them and ignoring your stories, they create a situation where their wants, views, and life are more important. It's a sneaky way of putting themselves first and making you second. The effect of such talks can be very sad. It can make you feel worthless and unhappy as your basic human need for respect and understanding is not met. Over time, this difference can ruin the basis of the relationship, making you feel like a tool for their life rather than a friend or partner. Seeing this lack of care is very important. It means being aware of how your talks go and how they make you feel. It asks you to think about whether the relationship is good for both of you or just for them. Finding this difference helps you look for more fair and satisfying relationships, where your stories and experiences are valued and respected as much as theirs. 2. Superficial closeness. Fake closeness. Think of a picture that looks deep and real, but when you look closer, you find out it is shallow and fake. In such talks, the people may act like they are your best friend or your loyal partner. They might talk to you often, laugh with you, and even have what seems like personal chats. But this fake closeness never becomes real closeness. This lack of real care shows in different ways. You might see that while they are fast to enjoy the good things of the relationship, they are also fast to run away when it needs work or giving up something for you. When you need help, their support is often weak or not there at all. They may be there for the fun and parties, but clearly missing during times of trouble or pain. Also, this fake closeness often misses the important parts of trust and dependability that make real relationships strong. Plans might be made only to be easily broken. Promises might be made but rarely kept. Their involvement in the relationship is often on their rules, driven by ease and selfishness. The reason behind this behavior is often to keep a group of people that they can use when they want without putting in the emotional work that real relationships need. It's a way of keeping people close enough for help, but not close enough to ask for real care. In a way, it's a kind of emotional cheating, getting the good things of closeness without the risk of real connection or duty. Seeing fake closeness is very important in knowing what is going on in a relationship. It means watching how you interact and asking if the felt closeness is matched by actions of real care and shared honesty. It's about finding out if the relationship is fair in terms of emotional giving or tilted towards serving their wants. It's a relationship marked by a false closeness without the base of real care and mutual growth. Finding this pattern helps you look for and grow relationships that are based on truth, fairness, and real emotional depth. 1. Persistent lack of respect. Bad manners. Think of a mistake or a rude word in the heat of the moment. That's not the problem here. It's a constant thing that is part of the relationship. It shows in different ways. It could be through mean words, cold actions, or even clear disrespect for your feelings and limits. This behavior can be hidden, like a series of small hurts, or obvious, like a big injury to your pride. Imagine a garden where respect is the food that helps relationships grow. Without it, what's left is a dry land where nothing good can live. In such a situation, every try at talking or connecting becomes a road full of sharp things of hate and carelessness. The person showing this lack of respect uses it as a tool, whether on purpose or not, to show power or control in the relationship. It's a way of making the other smaller, keeping an advantage in a situation where fairness and kindness should win. This constant bad manners badly hurts the relationship's base. When fights happen, instead of solving them with understanding and feeling, they become wars with no care for emotional damage. The normal ups and downs of relationship changes are broken, making it hard, if not impossible, to go back to a state of normal and mutual respect. Knowing and seeing this pattern of constant bad manners is very important. It means looking past single events to see the bigger pattern of behavior. It's about knowing that respect is not just about big actions. It's there in the daily talks, the small thank you, and the way fights are handled. In the end, a constant lack of respect in a relationship is a big sign of a person who sees you not as an equal friend, but as a way to an end. This lack of care for your feelings and pride shows a relationship that is not balanced and healthy. Finding this feature is very important for anyone who values their self-respect and looks for relationships built on a base of mutual respect and equality.